Alrighty guys, so a little bit of fun time. I wanted to talk about both of the variants very quickly. I really feel like the strongest variants, at least coming out, will be just the pure straightaway version, the Kashtira tier limit version. I'm not going to cover that version in this video because I'm kind of wanting to focus more specifically on Kashtira and kind of cover specifically why tasking is going to be an extraordinary card that you will have to pick up. Sorry to break the news to you. And knowing Konami's patterns, it will be a chase secret that'll probably be $150. So if I'm the bearer of bad news, I sincerely apologize, guys. But this card is so insane that I want to talk about it first. And it says if your opponent has activated a monster effect this turn, it doesn't have to be in the main phase, which is already stupid. Set one normal spell or trap directly from your deck, which completely opens the gameplay, whether you want to play spells or traps, as long as it's normal, as long as it's normal, you get to set the card and or play the card later on in that turn. If they have a monster on their side of the field, so you're playing into a board, then all of these cards actually become extraordinary. Cards like talents and even cards like this down on the side, I wouldn't necessarily side these are just showing you can play really any of these guys and then kind of swinging, or depending on what your opponent is trying to do, what you're trying to do, and some of the other tech cards that I'll be mentioning as well, because it's an entire library that would literally take me an entire video to break down card for card, specifically each one by each one. But for the main part, I just wanted to show off that both Reaper and Instant Fusion both have a strong capability in this deck. One, Reaper in a mirror is going to be kind of silly, and I actually think for the first time ever, Reaper won't be a -1, but rather a plus, simply because when cards are banished, you get to basically pop off with Arise Hard and attach stuff to him even more so. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to have that many monsters, I'm just saying that's a potential possibility. As far as, obviously you always have to have less monsters, just in case you don't remember that with Reapers. But bottom line is you're going to have a target like KcCard as well. And if Tier Limits still hangs around, which I most certainly see that it will, at least for the start of the format, just know that you can add the tier card inside of the deck as well, because, well, it shares the name, does it not? So while it's both a Reaper target, in case you don't draw the Reaper, you still have a use for KcCard. So therefore, I feel like that is a specific tech that you will probably want to play, because Instant Fusion always kind of finds its way into the deck. Always, you guys know about Instant Contact, being able to special summon a level 7. But that's besides the point. I just wanted to kind of point out the simplicity of this version. I would probably lean towards Solemn and a basic kind of understanding of what crazy ass cards like a Pointer can do. And again, guys, with a card like Tasking, it really opens up the library for normal spells and traps. And a Pointer, if at 3, would make this deck tier 0, therefore always opening this up if they interact with you at all is definitely going to be something strong. I do foresee the triple tactic Tasking will be much like Talents and naturally push people towards board breakers, because, well, let's face it, who wants to get cracked over the head for activating a hand trap like this? Now opening up the door to something rather silly, if you ask me. The adventure side of what I wanted to talk about as well is also kind of crazy, because, well, let's face it, Rite of Aramesir is a normal spell, and I also feel like the Instant Fusion can also slide into this version as well. The reason why I really like this version is because I feel like Nibiru, just guessing, prognosticating out ahead of time, Nibiru is actually going to try to come back, and I feel like it either will stick or people will play this version and it won't, and then people will slide back away from it, because who wants to get the Nibiru stopped by both the adventure package if everybody's playing this version, and naturally just Tier doesn't care about Nibiru, because you guys know that Tier doesn't care about Nibiru. Such is life. As far as the rest of the cards, though, I definitely feel like this engine is so extraordinary for the deck. And I also wanted to cover, a lot of people have never seen the combo, so we will be showing it in a separate combo video. The Mecha Phantom Beast using the two level 3 tokens to go into a Cherubini to then set up access into getting into Enchantress, because you're getting to dump it into the grave. So you have more opportunities off of the level 7s to start off with your adventure package and get somewhere. And it can go second, and cards like Illegal Knight being in the side deck, you could also main it if you wanted to. And then obviously I'm probably missing a card that you would play for yourself. I don't necessarily know where I sit on hand traps, so that's why my ratios are kind of weird. But if you want to have really strong control, then I feel like Reaper is going to really matter. However, I just don't know. You just don't know. As far as the pure version though, and touching on it again, Book of Eclipse being a main deck worthy card, as well as some of the old stuff that you used to see in the Punk version that will have to be updated. I definitely feel like all three of these versions, as well as the Ibli version, if you wanted to talk about it as well, all of them have some kind of strong capability. I feel like a lot of the old ones are going to get bumped. But before we get out of here, guys, I just wanted to show off a lot of the ideas that you have probably come across, seen it online, seen it in videos, or just naturally may not have known about it, so I'm going to talk about them real quick. Cards like Armageddon Knight, getting to dump stuff like Destrudo, which I also feel is kind of crazy because, well, let's face it, Black Rose is a level 7. Therefore, Destrudo being a level 7, Black Rose being a level 7, you have more utility to do more things inside of your deck. So cards like Armageddon Knight could be extraordinary for that reason, but also for the reason of being able to essentially dump any other monster that can set up some equip plays, special summoning back a warrior going into the Soul Day plays, and then getting different dimension reincarnation into your hand, or an even crazier equip spell like Durandal. And Durandal, which I don't feel like will be necessary because, hell, I'm not even playing Rhoda. I definitely had to mention that it both searches a Rise Heart, pardon me. The main deck monster is a Fire Warrior, in case you never noticed that, so do with that what you will. But I don't feel like you need to over search this card, and I feel like 2 is actually the correct number. So I don't want to see it that much, but it's so extraordinary that I do want to see it in some kind of way, and that's why 2 is the perfect number for this. So if you don't want to over search this card, I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Kind of speeding along, I feel like stuff like Cyber Valley is going to lose favor. Psybeast may kind of hang around. Astro Krebo will possibly hang around. I don't necessarily know. Who knows? The Mayutin version I really feel like is a lot of fun as well, but it'll fall by the wayside. But getting back into tasking, being pretty much the center of the universe to a lot of these cards, there's just so many normal spell cards that can do really, really crazy things, like extend into other ideas, which this would be a video in and of itself. And then mixing with stuff like Runic to have a Runic Kashtira version may be a thing as well. And a lot of these other cards that are normal spells are just really, really strong ideas. Speaking of normal spells that can search crazy cards, if you're worried about Nibiru that much and you don't like Crossout, or you want a budget version of it, I would recommend potentially looking at Piri Resmat, being able to search out a card like Fog King, and Fog King can out Nibiru. So again, guys, I could go on and on and on about what all these can facilitate, whether that be set rotation, having an additional way to get to the Scareclaw Kashtira monster, which is yet another way to get into a card, and then additionally have outs to specific acts like Fluanderies with stuff like Zombie World to be able to stop Fluanderies. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what all ideas that you've been messing around with. There's even virtual world ideas popping out there. Yes, that's actually a potential for something because they're psychics, and somebody had to try it out here. We may have that coming to the page soon. But with that being said, guys, I hope this has kind of opened your mind up a little bit to some of these crazy cards as we kind of show them running across your screen. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be on the lookout for so many of these tech cards. Let me know about some more that you may have, and I'll see you next time. I appreciate you for tuning in. Pegasus out. Arrivederci. Ciao.